Alright folks, so welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the last of the build videos. After this video, we're going to go and do a pre-flight check on the printer, set a calibration. I'll show you how I calibrate sheets and all that good mess. But this one is going to cover the electronics and hooking all the electronics up. Basically, we have to get all of our electronics hooked into there. All right, now I know that you guys can hear all the ruckus going on in the background. It's all loud. Yeah, probably not. Right behind us here, the MK2 is running, and it's actually a pretty quiet printer. So kind of show you guys what that looks like. It's actually almost done with first layer. So I'm printing something for my daughter that'll take about 27 hours to print. But that's the first layer. You can see that it's just laying out a very, very thin layer. So, actually, if you look down here at the monitor, you see it says 2242. So you can see the temperatures that it's running. These are in Celsius. The heat bed is right there at 100 degrees Celsius. You can do the math. That is boiling, folks. 255, 256 degrees ish. Yeah, that's not the surface of the sun, but it's pretty darn hot. And then the printer is actually running at 100% now, and this actually shows the Z height. So that's the height off of the bed. So we're at 0.2 of a millimeter. So each step in this process is 0.2 of a millimeter. So maybe at the end of this video, after I've shown the hooking all the electronics up, then we'll spin back around, take a look at that, kind of see how far it got. So anyway, on to the electricals. And mind you, there's probably going to be quite a bit of fast forward through the section, okay? Because there's just no way I can show all the hookup. But I'll show you as much as I can, and then we'll just get through it. All right, so let's get started. Alrighty folks, so here we are. You can see here's the electrical board. See, we've got all of our extruder electricals and this wiring harness here. Here I've got my x-axis electricals. This is the drive motor and the end limit switch here. And then here you can see the Z and Y motors here with a limit switch. A couple of wires coming over from our power supply and the LCD cables. In addition, I've got a wiring harness here that's coming off the back of the printer, and this is for our heat bed. So this is heat bed power and thermistor. And all of that stuff has to make it into this little box right here. Alrighty, so let's get started with that. I believe that everything that we're gonna need is an M10, which I think over here in our little pile is a bunch of M10s. And I believe that most of them are right here. So we'll hook that guy up there. I'll hook this guy up here. Okay. See if we can move you around for a little bit of a better angle here. Okay, so I just put these two screws in here. I'm going to work with one wiring harness at a time. So I'll get all this stuff out of the way here. Now, this is going to go click into here, and then we'll hook up the x-axis. The x-axis actually hooks up right here on the top, just like that. Okay, let me figure out where my x-axis end stop goes. The x-axis end stop says it goes right up there to the top. Okay, all right, so this is going to go in right about here. It's gonna go in flush, and it'll take this guy and it'll slide over the two little tabs right there. So there we go, we're in there. Let's check the reach here, make sure that we're able to go all the way up, and we are. So that's good there. And then we'll go ahead and tighten those down. So there's a little slot right here. And that's that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is put the door on in this area. I believe these are all going to be 10s. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll just grab some 10s and get started with it. So we'll take some 10s and we'll put them in here, just like so. Put him up there just like so. Now we're going to close this door. Make sure that it closes okay. Then also make sure that once it's closed, this bed will go back and forth, and it does. Okay. So now we're gonna start hooking up cables here. Alrighty folks, so here's the deal. Got us a handy dandy light, super bright. So I'm setting that up here, and then we're going to continue hooking up motors and cables and all that good stuff. Alright, so we've got our x-axis, so next is going to be y, then z. And then it wants us to hook up our low voltage wires going from the power supply. Okay. That is going to be these. And they hook up right here on the main board. But before we hook these up, I want to check these connections and make sure that they're tight. Let's look at our routing one more time. Make sure that everything's going to be tied over like it ought to be. I'm actually just going to put a zip tie right here to kind of keep things captive. Now we're going to do heat bed and extruder. All right, next up is going to be this mess for the extruder. Now it wants the left hot end fanned. Extruder motor, which is here. It's gonna go below the Z's. It looks like I'm gonna need to pull a little bit, so I'm gonna back these guys off just a little bit. Okay. Pull this guy just a touch. Let that get hooked up inside of there. You'll see the connector buried in there. So have to make sure we get in there and have all the polarities right. I did read on the forums this morning that somebody hooked one of these extruders up backwards and they don't run too well backwards. Just trying to... Alright, that ain't working. I'm gonna have to just hook this thing up. And just because it's easier for me to do it this way. Sorry guys, that's sometimes how it is. Alright. There we go. Got it hooked up. That's all it did. That's all it took. Get it hooked up. Okay. Alright. Before we forget, let's tighten all this back up. Alright. Extruder thermistor is here. That's this guy. Front print fan. Filament sensor cable. Use the correct row of pins on the connector to ensure the red and blue wires are facing the outside of the board. Right in there. Sweet molasses. Alright. So I got that all up in there. Alright. Got that. Alright. I got a couple more cables I got left. I gotta hook up the LCDs. I forget where they go. I know they go right here. I don't know which one's which. So I got to pull that one up. It's on the left. Okay. So I have stripes on them. There we go. As soon as I'm looking at it, it plops right in there. Funny how that works, huh? Alright. Now all this stuff has to make it inside of this enclosure all at once. Obviously. Well, that might work. That might, in fact, work. Okay, let's take the, we'll put our square nut in there. And that's it, guys. I say that's it, like that wasn't some huge, long, drawn-out process. But that was a huge, long, drawn-out process. Oh my gosh. Done. That, my friends, was the process. I'm looking at it now. I've got 35 minutes just on that one clip, and it was quite a bit that went in before that. But the good thing is that provided we've got everything hooked up right, this printer will calibrate and run, and be a great printer for us. As you can see here, we've got a printer that's printing back behind me here. Got a little bit of time left. Got a lot of time left. It's a 23-hour, 2-minute print, and we're down to 21 hours and 43 minutes. But you can see kind of how it's working. It's just kind of starting down low and building the layers up. All right. Alrighty. So the next video, we're going to get the printer hooked into the enclosure. We'll do a pre-flight check. We'll make sure that it goes through and does the wizard okay, where we'll see how it checks everything out, and then we'll start to print. All right. Remember, like the video if you like it. Leave comments and suggestions in the comment box below. If you're not already subscribed, I appreciate you subscribing. Ring the bell for notifications for when I upload. I try to upload every 3 days. After we get this done, I'll have to come up with some new projects. I've got some new projects kind of in the works, so we'll see how it all works out. Alrighty, so look forward to seeing you in 3 days, and just like always, make sure that you have a great day. Let's see if we can find the other little cables that I need. I think there's 2 other little cables that I gotta have. Somewheres. Where did they go? Ah, here they are. I got these 2 cables here.